Discover 30 hidden secrets, life-changing billionaire lifestyle visualization in just 1 hour. The bright letters bounced off Carlie's phone screen, flashing like a beacon in her dim, cramped apartment. It felt like a slap of hope, tinged with the sweet scent of possibility. Every bill piled on the counter, every dollar that slipped through her fingers echoed the sting of dreams deferred. Yet, there it was, an alluring promise. Carlie's heart raced, envisioning a life not just for herself but for her bright-eyed daughter, Lily, who danced through her life with unfiltered joy. As she shut her eyes tight, thoughts raced with images of new beginnings. A little coffee shop, painted sunshine yellow, filled with laughter and warm pastries. Vision boards splashed with defining words: empowerment, success, joy. She could almost taste the success with its sweet tang. Carlie had spent her day serving others in the local diner, where warmth radiated from regulars who called her the heart of Maplewood, but the affection came wrapped in bills that whispered relentlessly, reminding her of her limitations. Carlie swallowed hard. The decision sharpens the air around her. Could investing her savings be the answer? This vibrant flash drew her in like the diner's sign flickering in the night. It could change everything, she thought, a feverish hope igniting within. Just an hour to unlock her future, but whispers began, and Carlie could feel the tension weave through her friendships. Why would you want more when you have us? It was as if they cast her chances aside, chaining her to simplicity. The small-town hangouts shared under starlit skies suddenly felt foreign and suffocating. We're happy here, Carlie, they'd say, the skepticism piling on her shoulders, reminding her of the roots they all cherished. And yet, just as Carlie would find a flicker of confidence, doubt would grip her heart, a vice she couldn't shake. Then came the blow from her estranged father, Henry, who wore his pride like battle armor. Dreams can tear families apart, he declared, each word landing like cannon fire. Her chest tightened, breath hitching at the weight of his disapproval. Old wounds opened, deep-seated misunderstandings re-emerging, mingling sharper than ever with the taste of her burgeoning ambition. And just when it seemed to harden into a resignation, Lily's innocent voice cut through the storm. Mom, why don't you just give up and stay with us? In that moment, Carlie felt herself teetering, caught between the threads of familial love and the tapestry of hope she longed to weave. Was her aspiration destined to unravel the very fabric of her family? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the day of her first community presentation approached, Carlie felt the heat of anticipation and fear both surge within her. What does success truly mean in this tight-knit town? With her dreams shimmering just out of reach, she stood at a crossroads. Can she redefine her worth without losing the connections she cherished? Her heart pounded, echoing the weight of her choices as uncertainty lingered like shadows in the twilight. All you could do was wonder, would she push ahead or retreat into the shadows that once comforted her? The entire town seemed to hold its breath, anxious for the choices that must soon be revealed. The day had finally arrived. Carlie stood in front of the mirror, her breath quickening as she adjusted her shirt for what seemed like the 1000th time. Each crease in the fabric tugged at her confidence, reminding her that she was stepping into the unknown. The soft yellow of her shirt felt like a nod to the coffee shop she dreamt of, a beacon of warmth and possibility. Her phone vibrated, a sudden jolt of sound that shattered her moment of focus. A message from an old friend, Sarah, flashed across the screen. Excited to see you present today. You've got this. Carlie smiled faintly, the warmth of encouragement wrapping around her like a familiar blanket. Yet, just beneath the surface, those familiar doubts clawed for attention. What if she failed? What if all those whispers were true? Perhaps she was meant to be the heart of Maplewood, but not its dreamer. As she walked out of her apartment, the door clicking shut behind her felt like a definitive end and a hopeful beginning. Each step toward the town hall echoed in her mind, the thrill of ambition tinged with the weight of expectation. Would they cheer her dreams or roll their eyes? The small gathering buzzed with anticipation as neighbors filed in, the scent of fresh coffee wafting through the air, reminiscent of those cozy Sunday mornings. Carlie spotted old faces from the diner, their smiles radiating a warmth only a close-knit community could share. "Hey, Carlie!" called out Mr. Thompson, his friendly wave breaking her apprehension. "We wouldn't miss this for the world." "Thanks, Mr. T," she replied, her heart lightening a bit, but doubt stirred again when she saw the group from her past, the friends who had once embraced her as one of their own but had started pulling away when her aspirations began to rise. Their skeptical glances felt like weights dragging on her spirit. Words escaped, and her face flushed. Finally, it was time. Carlie took a deep breath, climbing the few steps to the makeshift stage, framed by a simple banner proclaiming her venture. Her palms were clammy as she gripped the podium, her heart thumping. "Hi everyone. I'm so glad you're here," she started, her voice shaky but filled with an earnest plea. "I want to share something that's very close to my heart." As she spoke, she poured out her dreams for the coffee shop, the community it would cultivate, the joy it would bring not just to her but everyone in Maplewood. She painted vibrant pictures of laughter, warmth, and a place where families would gather, celebrating life in all its simple joys. And then, as if to solidify her resolve, Lily's little hand shot up from the crowd. "Mom! You're gonna make it happen, right?" Her innocent enthusiasm radiated innocence and belief. The audience chuckled, but Carlie could feel the room shift, emotions breathing anew, some smile transformed into assured nods. "I will," she declared, her voice steady and loud. "I will make it happen." But deep down, she felt the rush of reality crashing back in. What if the support she saw now faded into whispers once more? What if her father's words echoed too loudly, warning her of the risks? Just as she finished, a question hung heavy in the air. Someone from the back asked, "What about your family, Carlie? What will they think?" Her heart raced anew. It was the very question she grappled with. And as the crowd fell silent, all eyes on her, Carlie felt the weight of the moment. She had laid bare her dreams. Now, she had to confront the truth of her journey and the choices that lay ahead. Would she forge her path despite the fears that loomed? With her heart pounding, the answer rested on the tip of her tongue. Would she truly step forward into the life she dreamed of, or was she bound to retreat into the safety of familiarity? The moment hung there, thick with tension and possibility, as she prepared to respond. Would she dare to choose hope? Carlie stood frozen, the microphone feeling heavier than ever in her grip. Her mind raced, every heartbeat echoing the question thrown at her. What about your family? It wasn't just a question, it was a door opened wide to fear, regret, and the shadows of doubt she tried so hard to push back. She glanced out at the faces before her, each one holding a piece of her world, their hopes, their support, and their skepticism. The gathering felt like a tapestry woven from years of shared coffee, whispered secrets, and community bonds. And yet, hidden in those threads was her family, a family she loved fiercely but whose judgments loomed like storm clouds on the horizon. Taking a breath, she decided to bear the truth. My family, they aren't just a part of my life, they're the roots that ground me. They've always wanted what's best for me. But sometimes, that means putting their dreams above my own. Her voice shook but she pushed through. I've always worried they wouldn't understand the risks I want to take. Starting this coffee shop, it feels like I'm defying them in a way. A murmur rippled through the audience. Someone in the back whispered, "You're not alone." The words hung in the air, thick and reassuring. Exactly. She blurted out, encouraged by their reaction. I think everyone here struggles between following our dreams and not wanting to disappoint those we love. I don't want to hurt them by chasing my hopes. But I also want to be happy. I want to create something beautiful. More faces nodded in empathy. Carlie glanced at the group of her old friends, who now seemed less like opponents and more like a reflection of her own fears. The anxious weight in her stomach lightened slightly, reminding her that vulnerability often draws others closer. I'm standing here now, not just for me, but for all of us who've ever sat on the sidelines, waiting for permission to chase our own dreams, she said, more firmly this time, her voice reaching for the rafters of the town hall. This isn't just about coffee, it's about community. It's about us, coming together not just to sip warm drinks, but to share our stories and comfort each other in the chaos of life. The room grew quieter, a palpable shift taking hold as her words resonated. Then, out of the corner of her eye, she spotted Mr. Thompson raising his hand again, a sheepish grin on his face. "And we'll need good pastries too," he called out, breaking the weighty atmosphere with laughter. Carlie chuckled, feeling the tension in her chest release. "Definitely. And good pastries it will be," she replied, her heart soaring with newfound courage. As she closed her speech, gauging the crowd's energy, she felt hopeful. Each face seemed to soften, showing acceptance and support. "So, what do you say? Shall we come together and make something beautiful happen in Maplewood?" A roar of applause erupted, peeling away some of the last remnants of doubt. But even as she stepped down from that makeshift stage, a flicker of uncertainty lingered. Had she really turned a corner, or would the whispers return? The thought gnawed at her. No matter how far she had come in this moment, there was still a road ahead, and just as she stepped off the stage, Lily rushed to her side, her little hands pulling Carlie down for a quick hug. "Mom, I believe in you. Can we get ice cream now?" Carlie laughed. "Ice cream sounds perfect." But as they moved toward the crowd, an unexpected sight caught her eye, her father leaning against the wall, arms crossed and expression unreadable, watching her with an intensity that wrapped around her heart with a mix of fear and hope. Would he reject her dreams or finally see her for who she truly was? As their eyes met, Carlie felt her stomach twist with uncertainty. She had a choice to make, not just about her coffee shop, but about confronting her family's expectations once and for all. With her heart pounding, she took a step toward him. What would she find on this path of honesty and ambition? Carlie took a deep breath, letting the applause of the crowd fade away into the background. In that moment, all she could focus on was the figure of her father, still leaning against the wall like a silent statue. His gaze felt heavy, pinning her in place, and her heart raced as she wondered what would come next. Would he be proud? Would he be angry? As she stepped forward, Lily trotted by her side, blissfully unaware of the gravity of the moment. Her daughter beamed up at her, her innocence a comforting balm to Carlie's fraying nerves. "Mom, can we get sprinkles on our ice cream? The pink ones?" Carlie smiled weakly, distracted. She wanted to reassure her child, but her thoughts were consumed by the impending confrontation. "Sure, sweetheart. Let us get some sprinkles." They approached her father, and Carlie's pulse quickened. Would he embrace her dreams, or would he dismiss them outright? His arms remained crossed tightly, an invisible barrier that separated their worlds. "Hey, Dad," she said, her voice barely above a whisper but laden with tension. He looked down at her, his brow furrowing slightly. "I heard your speech." Carlie's heart sank. That neutral tone didn't reveal much. "And?" Her father shifted his weight, still standing firmly. "I don't know if starting a coffee shop is a wise choice." The comment hit her like a cold wave. "But this isn't just about coffee. It's about community, about creating something meaningful in Maplewood." Her voice wavered but rose with fervor. "I need you to understand that I worry you're chasing a dream that isn't practical," he interrupted, his voice firm. "What if it fails?" The shadows of self-doubt crept back in. Carlie clenched her fists, feeling frustration bubble to the surface. "All I'm asking for is a chance. I've worked hard for this, and it feels like everyone is waiting for me to fail." Lily tugged on her sleeve, trying to steer the conversation to lighter topics, her innocence stark against the weight of adult worries. "Grandpa, can we get ice cream too?" Mom said sprinkles. Carlie shot her a grateful look. The light in her daughter's eyes seemed to break through the dark moment. "Yes, we're going." How about we go all together? Her father looked at Lily, and for a brief second, his expression softened. Sprinkles, huh? Yep. Pink sprinkles. Lily jumped. Carlie seized the moment. Dad, look at Lily. She is excited about the simplest things. I want to create a place where joy can be shared, a space for laughter and a warm cup of coffee. Isn't that worth pursuing? The brief flicker of hope dimmed as he took a step back, his expression unreadable again. You know what I want for you, Carlie. If this doesn't work out, I can't bear to see you hurt. Her heart squeezed in her chest. I've been hurt enough by holding back. I need your support. Not your worry. The air hung thick with unspoken words, shadows of their past mingling with hopes for the future. She realized something essential. Perhaps she was not just fighting for her dreams but for her father to see the woman she had become. The world around them began to fade, and suddenly Carlie felt the urge to break the silence. Can we at least talk about it over ice cream? He looked into her eyes, searching for a sign of her determination. Slowly, his arms uncrossed. Fine, he said, the corners of his lips almost lifting into a smile. Let us go get ice cream. As they turned to leave, Carlie felt a surge of relief mixed with a knot of anticipation. Strides felt lighter as they headed toward the shop, but she knew there were still conversations to be had, and more challenges to face. On the way to the ice cream shop, Carlie stole a glance at her father. Would he be open enough to embrace her choices? Or was this merely the calm before the storm? With each step, the strain of the past was the only thing she carried. Hope flickered with each heartbeat. What awaited her as she navigated her family's expectations and her dreams? The walk transformed from a journey into a quest for acceptance, understanding, and ultimately, for the future she longed to build. Could she bridge the gap between her ambitions and her father's concerns, or would they swing back to confrontation? The answer loomed just ahead. The small bell above the ice cream shop door chimed as they entered, bringing a rush of cold air that tinged the warm summer afternoon. Brightly colored tubs of ice cream beckoned from behind the counter, their soft hues promising sweet relief. Carlie took a moment to breathe in the familiar smell of sugar and waffle cones, reminiscing about her own childhood visits and the delight it brought her. Lily dashed over to the ice cream display, eyes wide with wonder. Look, Mom! They have unicorn flavored! She exclaimed, bouncing on her toes. The delight in her voice was infectious, piercing through the remaining tension like sunlight breaking through clouds. Carlie smiled, glancing at her father, who stood by the door, arms grazing his sides as he took it all in. This was a moment that could have been joyous, and yet, she felt a tightness in her chest. Would he allow himself to enjoy this? Or would he remain distant, too wrapped up in his concerns? Dad, she called softly, come see what they have. He stepped hesitantly toward the counter, shaking his head ever so slightly as he approached. You sure that's a flavor? He muttered, trying to lighten the moment but unable to shake off his serious demeanor. Sprinkles. Lily's voice rang out again as she gestured wildly. Mom promised pink sprinkles. Carlie chuckled, the tension momentarily lifting. I did. No sprinkles, no ice cream. She winked, trying to put on a brave front. The sight of her father chuckling, albeit faintly, was a small victory in the ongoing battle between them. As they stepped up to place their orders, Carlie felt the weight of her father's silent judgment on her choice once more. Dad, really, it's okay. You don't have to worry about me. I'm not chasing a pipe dream. This is real, and I'm ready to make it a success. He paused, looking at the array of flavors before him, as if they could somehow provide the answers. What if it just ends up being a waste of time and money? His voice was thick with concern, but so was something deeper fear. Lily, fortunately, was oblivious to the serious conversation unfolding around her. I want chocolate, she declared, her eyes sparkling as she pointed at the dark fudge flavor. Chocolate and sprinkles it is, Carlie said, giving in to her daughter's enthusiasm. What do you want, Dad? Her father sighed, his face a mask of contemplation. "Just a scoop of vanilla for me," he replied finally, his tone softer, almost resigned. They placed their orders, the server smiling warmly, oblivious to the emotional undercurrent swirling in the air. As they leaned against the countertop waiting for their ice cream, Carlie mustered her courage. "Dad, what do you think I should do?" she asked, her voice earnest. "I want to know what you truly believe." He looked at her, a mix of pride and concern flickering in his eyes. I think you have passion, and that counts for a lot. But it also takes more than passion. It takes a plan, resources, and the ability to adapt." Lily interjected, her face smeared with chocolate as she licked her cone. "Can I open a coffee shop too, Mom? With pink walls and sparkly chairs?" Carlie's heart swelled. In that bright moment, she felt the weight of her father's expectations lightly brush against her dreams, a whisper of encouragement amid the chaos. "You can do anything, my sweet, just like I'm trying to." Her father nodded slowly, his demeanor softening. "Okay. Maybe I need to give you a bit more credit. You've grown up a lot, Carlie." As they walked out of the shop, ice cream in hand, the sun shone brightly overhead, casting everything in a warm glow. Carlie could feel the air shift, and for a brief moment, hope blossomed between them. "Thanks, Dad," she said, stealing a glance at him. "For being here." He brushed off her gratitude with a wave of his hand, but she could see the hint of a smile play at the corners of his lips. Just then, a commotion from across the street caught her attention. A crowd was gathering, and she could hear snippets of laughter and excitement mixed with shouts. "What is happening over there?" A mixture of curiosity and concern stirred within her. What was drawing everyone's attention? And what did it mean for their day? The pieces of life were slowly rearranging themselves in that moment. But as Carlie looked at her daughter and then at her father, a stirring realization formed. This was more than just ice cream. They were on the brink of something new. What awaited them as they discovered what lay ahead in this unfolding day? The crowd across the street buzzed with energy, laughter bubbling through the warm summer air. Carlie's heart quickened, intrigued. "Let us go see," she said, trying to mask her own uncertainty with enthusiasm. "Come on, Lily. Let us check it out." Her daughter nodded vigorously, her cone dangling dangerously close to the ground. Carlie took her hand, feeling its warmth, a comforting reminder of the love that pulsed between them. Her father fell in step behind them, still somewhat hesitant but curious as well. As they crossed the street, the sounds became clearer, a lively performance, maybe a street magician. The throng parted like waves, allowing them to step closer. They found themselves at a makeshift stage surrounded by an enthusiastic audience. "Wow!" Lily squealed, her eyes sparkling, tightly gripping her ice cream. On stage, a magician clad in a velvety red cape was pulling coins from behind children's ears and making balloons twist into playful animals. The crowd erupted in cheers, and Carlie couldn't help but smile at Lily's delighted laughter. It was moments like these that reminded her of the simple joys in life. "See, Dad. This is what it's all about." Carlie turned to her father, hoping to capture some of that same joy in his eyes. But instead, she found him grappling with something deeper. His brow furrowed, as though the magician's tricks only reminded him of the uncertainties that lay ahead for Carlie. "Magic is fun," he said, his voice barely rising above the crowd, "but you know, it won't pay the bills." Carlie felt the happiness dissolve a little, but she couldn't let it. "I'm trying to create magic of my own," she replied, her voice steady but her heart racing. "It'll take work, but it doesn't mean it won't happen." Lily danced in place, oblivious to the weight of the conversation between her mother and grandfather. "Look, Mom. He is making a poodle," she exclaimed, pointing excitedly. Her father hesitated, watching his granddaughter's enthusiasm. "I know you believe in magic, honey," he finally said, his tone more thoughtful. "But just remember, it takes more than belief to create your own reality." Before Carlie could respond, the magician called for volunteers, and without a second thought, Lily shot her hand into the air. "Me. Pick me." Carlie felt a mix of pride and anxiety as the magician pointed to her daughter. Come on up. As Lily bounded onto the stage, Carlie's heart swelled with both joy and apprehension. This was a moment for Lily to shine, yet all Carlie could think about was her own insecurity. Would her father see how capable Lily was, how bright her future could be? Or would he remain trapped in his skepticism? The magician guided Lily through a series of playful tricks, her face lighting up with each cheer from the crowd. Carlie couldn't help but smile, relief washing over her, even as her father's face remained etched with concern. Let us believe in her magic, Carlie whispered to herself, locking eyes with her father. She deserves it. But as she watched Lily beam with joy, a new thought nagged at the back of Carlie's mind. What if following her dreams wasn't just about believing, it was about finding her own magic, just like Lily found in that moment? Suddenly, a loud cheer erupted from the audience, breaking her thoughts. The magician had completed his trick, and Lily emerged holding a bouquet of balloons, her laughter ringing out amongst the crowd, a sweet melody of pure joy. Carlie felt her father's gaze shift toward the stage, his hardened facade beginning to soften as he watched his granddaughter. Maybe, just maybe, she thought, this was a turning point. Then, in an unexpected twist, the magician announced a final act, an opportunity for one lucky audience member to win a free consultation with a famous businessman about starting a new venture. Carlie's heart dropped. This was it, the chance that could redefine everything for her. But could she truly take that leap? Before she could ponder further, someone from the crowd raised their hand. Me. They called out, glancing around. Yet moments later, that hand, surprisingly, was Lily's, waving excitedly. Will she get picked? Carlie thought, a mix of hope and fear swirling within her. Would this lead to a revelation, a change in perspective for them all? The magician squinted, his eyes darting around the gathering. Let us find out. The atmosphere buzzed once again, and Carlie's thoughts raced alongside her heartbeat. What lay ahead in this unfolding day might just change everything. The magician paused dramatically, soaking in the anticipation, while the crowd held its breath. Carlie's heart pounded in her chest as she observed Lily, glowing with excitement, completely unaware of the weight of the moment. There's no way they'll choose her, Carlie thought, wanting to be realistic but feeling a flicker of hope nonetheless. Lily was just a child, but her spirit radiated with the kind of enthusiasm that could light up the darkest corners of doubt. Is it too much to dream? Carlie pondered as she caught a glimpse of her father's expression. His brows were raised, and she could see him struggling between skepticism and admiration. Okay, I see you. The magician finally called out, directing his attention to Lily, who was still bouncing on the balls of her feet. What's your name, young lady? Lily. She squealed, waving her arms in the air like she was already celebrating a victory. Lily, he echoed, chuckling as the name seemed to brighten the atmosphere even more. You think you have what it takes to start your own magical business? She nodded fervently, yes. I can make balloons and poodles. The crowd laughed, and Carlie felt her heart swell with pride, but it was quickly overshadowed by fear. What if this led to disappointment? She knew the odds, but still, she wanted so desperately for Lily to win. As the magician continued to engage the audience, Carlie felt her father inch closer, leaning forward, hanging on to every word. This was a shift, she could sense it. Maybe he wasn't as closed off as she thought. All right, let us hear it for our hopefuls, shouted the magician. He began to sift through the hands raised in the audience, making a show of it. And the lucky one is. He paused dramatically, looking left and right before pointing straight at Lily. Lily, he announced triumphantly. Carlie's stomach dropped. Laughter erupted, a mixture of joyous applause and echoes of disbelief. All around them, people cheered, and for a brief moment, time stood still. Lily's eyes went wide, shining like stars. Me. I won. Yes, you did. The magician grinned, gesturing her forward. As she brightened with joy, something inside Carlie began to unravel. Could this be the moment that validated her dreams? As Lily took center stage, suddenly all the world's worries faded. The children in the crowd clapped and jumped, their faces full of wonder, while adults laughed and cheered, swept up in the moment. Her father stood beside Carlie, his smile tentative but genuine. "Looks like she's got some real magic," he said quietly, more to himself than to her. Carlie felt the tension between them loosen ever so slightly. "Maybe magic really does exist," she said softly, heart racing. But then the magician called for the first question from their new star. Lily, suddenly shy, turned to the crowd. "What do I do now?" Carlie held her breath, realizing the weight of this moment was about to shift once again. The answer might dictate everything, not just for Lily but for herself too. "Keep believing," the magician replied, ease lacing his tone, "and remember, the real magic is in hard work and dreams." Carlie's heart raced, understanding those words held more truth than she ever expected. But would she have the courage to pursue her own dreams? As Lily joined the magician in a celebratory dance, excitement enveloped the air. But a nagging thought echoed in her mind. The journey ahead would be filled with struggles. Could she conquer her fears and embrace her own magic? Just then, a woman in the crowd shouted, "What's next for the winner?" The magician winked. "Ah. That's for us to discover." A shift flickered through Carlie. What would this opportunity reveal? Would she finally find the strength to weave her own dreams into reality? The world around them pulsed with anticipation, and Carlie sensed something was not just shifting for Lily, but perhaps for herself as well. The applause was deafening, drowning out Carlie's swirling thoughts. She watched as Lily hopped around the stage, basking in the spotlight, her laughter contagious and bright. But the echoes of excitement around her created a hollow pit in Carlie's stomach. "What do I do now?" Lily repeated, looking toward the magician with wide, innocent eyes. He winked at her, his mottled cape sweeping dramatically behind him as he approached. "Now, you embark on your journey. Every great magician starts somewhere," he proclaimed, gesturing to the audience as if they were an enchanted brigade ready to support their newfound star. "Let us gather your first audience, shall we?" The crowd erupted once more, roaring with cheers as they shifted closer, eyes glinting with eagerness to hear what the little girl had in mind. Carlie felt her own heart jump in excitement and anxiety. Was this a good thing? Could Lily handle the pressure? "Do you believe in magic?" the magician asked, subtly drawing Lily into the moment. The crowd responded with a resounding, "Yes." "Then show us," he encouraged, and with a loving glow, he patted her on the back. Carlie could see the faint worry cross Lily's face for just a moment before it was replaced with determination. "Okay. I can make balloons. And a big, fluffy bunny," she declared, her voice now commanding and strong, seizing the attention of everyone around her. For a moment, everything felt electric, and Carlie couldn't help but smile. Wasn't that what they all craved? To believe, to escape into a world where dreams weren't just dreams, but promises waiting to unfold. But then doubt crept back in. What if she falters? Carlie thought, her brows furrowing. What if she fails? Her father's hand found her shoulder, bringing warmth and grounding amidst the whirlwind of emotions. "You know," he said quietly, almost as if he was sharing a secret, "sometimes failure leads us to something greater." His words hung in the air as Lily bent down, pulling a balloon from the magician's oversized coat. The child's energy radiated with each twist of her small hands, promising enchantment. Carlie felt a swell of pride, mixed with a twinge of jealousy. Why couldn't she own that kind of confidence? Later, as the night wore on, Carlie found herself lost in thought. She watched as Lily handed out the balloons she had crafted, each one met with delighted gasps from children who marveled at her creations. The joy in their eyes mirrored what was sparking inside Carlie. The dream she had kept tucked away was yearning to be released. Maybe this is the catalyst, Carlie whispered to herself, watching Lily transform into a beacon of joy. Despite the warmth of the moment, an unsettling feeling still flickered in her chest, an itch that needed scratching. It stirred within her, screams of longing, pushing her to embrace the dream she hadn't dared vocalize. The magician's voice broke the lull of her thoughts. And remember, every great magician has a backstory. You can do it too, Lily. Use that imagination. Carlie drew in a breath. The idea of imagining her own reality seemed impossibly distant, yet the air was thick with possibility. As the evening ended and the lights dimmed, she found herself strangely restless. The electricity of the night hinted at the bold embrace of dreams that lay ahead. "What's my story?" she muttered, her thoughts racing. But what was standing between her and that first step? As Lily twirled, her laughter echoed a challenge, leaving Carlie feeling both scared and excited. What would she choose to create? And more importantly, would she have the courage to step into the spotlight like her little sister? Just then, the magician approached them, his eyes sparkling with the remnants of magic. "Nothing great happens in the shadows, you know. What's next for each of you will be revealed when you step forward." Carlie felt her heart thump. The weight of his words settled into her bones, urging her toward an uncertain future. Caught between her sister's newfound celebration and the whisper of her own dreams, she knew one thing: the real journey was only beginning. What awaited her on the other side of fear? The night held too many possibilities, and with the flicker of her ambition igniting, she realized she couldn't hide any longer. The stage lights glimmered like stars, casting a warm glow on Lily's face as she made her way through jubilant children demanding more balloons. Each knot and twist she crafted brought delighted squeals and wide-eyed wonder, and Carlie felt a tug in her chest. In that moment, her sister had become the embodiment of dreams, simple yet profound. But the applause had also amplified Carlie's insecurities. The thought of her own unspoken dreams echoed louder than ever. She watched with admiration, but the sparkle that danced in Lily's eyes felt like a distant memory of a time when she too had dared to believe. Her father's quiet encouragement still lingered in her mind. Sometimes failure leads us to something greater. What if he was right? What if, like Lily, she could transform her fear into something beautiful? The magician, with his enigmatic charm, caught her gaze. "How about you, my dear?" he asked, his voice smooth as velvet. "What magic do you hold?" He stepped closer, intrigued. Carlie felt her heart race. "Me?" The word tumbled from her lips, a mixture of shock and self-doubt. Could she even begin to answer him? Her stories felt jumbled, stifled by years of a comfortable, predictable life. But could she step into the light, even if only a little? The magician's smile didn't waver. "Every magician has their own story. Yours is just waiting to be told. What do you want the world to see?" The crowd buzzed around them, parents lifting their phones to capture the moment, children still captivated by Lily's balloon animals dancing in the air, but Carlie felt her world narrowing. Something deep inside began to awaken a thrill, a whisper of courage. I want to create joy," she found herself saying, surprising even herself. "But I don't know how." "Joy is already within you," he replied softly. "You just need to let it out." "What blocks you?" She hesitated, her thoughts racing. "What if I mess up? What if I fail?" The words escaped as a confession, raw and vulnerable. The magician tilted his head, his eyes piercing yet empathetic. "Magic isn't about perfection. It's about sharing who you are, errors and all. You've already started to see it. What happens when you release the pressure? When you show up for yourself." Carlie let the words wash over her. In that moment, everything shifted. Maybe failure wasn't the end. Perhaps it was just the beginning of something even more magical than she had imagined. She could feel the warmth of possibility spread through her, like a soft sunrise breaking through the horizon. Lily's laughter rang out, timelessly sweet, weaving its way into Carlie's thoughts. She thought of her sister's joy and all the beauty that lay in embracing who you are. What if she could do the same? "I want to be brave," Carlie whispered, almost afraid to voice it aloud. "I want to step into my own magic." The magician grinned, as if she had just performed the grandest trick of all. "Then that's your first real spell. Believe in yourself, and watch as the world transforms around you." With a newfound determination knitting her resolve, Carlie stepped away from her father's comforting presence and moved closer to the crowd. Every inch felt monumental, every heartbeat a thrilling pulse of potential. As she followed the sound of laughter and joy, a question lingered at the back of her mind. Was it truly possible for her to carve out her own path? Could she harness the courage bubbling inside her and create the magic she longed for? The air hummed with excitement, and just as she readied herself to try, she caught Lily's eye, her sister's face aglow with pride. Maybe drawing from that light would help illuminate her own way. Carlie inhaled deeply, allowing the scent of popcorn and grass to fill her lungs, grounding her in the present. The night was about to unfold into something spectacular, and she wanted to embrace whatever it might have in store. But even with every step forward, another question danced on her lips. What if stepping into her magic meant facing parts of herself she had long avoided? The moment loomed before her, teetering on the brink of transformation. Would she truly take that leap? Carlie stood at the edge of the gathering, her heart beating wildly in time with the vibrant energy thrumming around her. She watched as Lily stood triumphantly on the stage, her little hands clutching a bouquet of balloons, laughter bubbling up like a burst dam. That innocence and joy sparked something deep within Carlie, the desire to reclaim her own dreams. The realization hit her like a splash of cold water. She couldn't keep standing in the shadows of fear. Step forward, the magician had said, and it resonated with her soul. With every ounce of courage she could muster, Carlie took a deep breath, feeling the fresh air fill her lungs, a new spark igniting a long overdue ambition. Each step toward the stage felt like shedding the weight of countless doubts. "Mommy, come here," Lily called out, her eyes shining with excitement. The crowd's gaze followed Carlie as she approached, and for the first time, she felt like she was ready to embrace the moment. Instead of retreating to what felt safe, Carlie found herself thrust into the light, every heartbeat echoing a resolve she'd suppressed for too long. "Lily, you're amazing," Carlie exclaimed as she reached her daughter, bending down to wrap her arms around her. The warmth engulfed them both, a promise of love and support. "I want you to know how proud I am of you." "What about your magic, Mommy?" Lily asked innocently, her eyes big and curious. In that moment, Carlie realized she didn't have to answer with a rehearsed speech or list of achievements. "I am going to work hard to create something beautiful too, just like you," she smiled through tears, the joy radiating from her little girl reflecting back onto her. The magician looked on with pride, as if sensing the transformation unfolding. "That's the spirit," he cheered. "You both share a great magic, the kind that inspires others. Now, let us create some joy together." Taking in the charged atmosphere, Carlie didn't care about the onlookers or the whispers of her doubts. She stepped onto the stage beside Lily, who grinned in approval. "What if we turned this moment into a story for everyone?" Carlie suggested, her heart racing. "A story about dreams that spark in the everyday, a place where we all can share our magic." The crowd began to murmur, exchanging glances. Carlie could sense an electric energy building around them, a coalition of hopes and dreams igniting. What had once felt daunting now lifted her spirit. They were all in this together, encouraged by the laughter bubbling in the audience. Carlie felt herself lightening. "I want to create a space just like this, a cozy coffee shop, where community comes together to enjoy good drinks and share our stories. Because every story has the potential to empower not just one person, but many." The applause that followed startled her, breaking the tension that had been woven around her heart. At that moment, it didn't matter if the vision was perfect or if failure lurked. It was about claiming ownership of her desires. With a newfound determination, she continued, "And I want to partner with you, my friends, share dreams, flourishes, and all those whimsical ideas that sprout over coffee. This isn't just my dream, it's ours. I want pink walls." Lily piped up, her voice echoing through the crowd, bringing more laughter and cheers erupting around them. "Yes, pink walls with sparkly chairs." Carlie chuckled, invigorated by her daughter's enthusiasm. The audience's smiles surged as they became part of this vision. With that infectious laughter, the quiet murmurings in the crowd transformed into encouraging shouts. "We're with you, Carlie. Someone called from the back. A ripple of support surged through, knitting them closer as a community. Her heart swelled as she looked into the sea of familiar faces, old friends, regulars from the diner. Even her father stood watching now, his stance softening, pride shimmering in his eyes. Carlie knew she was stepping into uncharted territory, but she felt ready to embrace whatever magic awaited her. "Thank you." Carlie beamed over the applause. "Thank you for believing in the possibilities. Let us start this journey together, one cup at a time." The crowd erupted into cheers, and in that moment, Carlie knew she had made the right choice. She felt alive, the fire of ambition rekindled, intertwining with Lily's laughter and the warmth of community. She wasn't just redefining herself, she was rewriting a shared narrative that promised a brighter future. Carlie turned to her daughter, her heart overflowing with gratitude. "You were the spark that ignited this moment, my darling girl. Can we get sprinkles again?" Lily giggled, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "Yes, my love, sprinkles for everyone." Carlie laughed, pulling her daughter close as they basked in the warmth of shared dreams unfolding. As they stepped off the stage, fingers entwined and spirits high, Carlie understood hope was no longer a distant whisper. She held it tightly, ready to turn dreams into reality, surrounded by a community willing to venture with her. And it was in that embrace of love and support, she felt the true magic of life. Now, my friends, this is your moment to jump into the magic. You need to subscribe now so you won't miss the next exclusive stories that can spark inspiration for your own journey. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us grow this amazing community. Comment below with your reactions, how you felt during this transformation, and shout out your own dreams you aim to pursue. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this heartwarming story of courage and transformation. Together, let us inspire each other to reach beyond the ordinary,